We should close our airports and seaports temporarily to any Chinese mainland tourists. Secretary Duque, Your Honor, may I confirm if this is indeed accurate? And second, if it is your task to do so, are you inclined at the soonest possible time to ban first the entry of any mainland Chinese tourists while the virus is still not contained in mainland China? Just that basic question, Mr. Secretary.
And certainly that's one of the possible options that we are looking at, but not at this very moment.
Okay.
The reason being, Your Honor, is we have to be very careful also about the possible repercussions of doing this in the light of the fact that the confirmed cases of coronaviruses are not limited to China, but now, in fact, in several countries, as I have shown on the slides. And if we do this, then the concerned country, and China in this case, might question why we're not doing the same for all the other countries that have reported confirmed cases of the novel coronavirus. So it's a very tricky, very difficult issue that you have raised, but certainly we commit to take this into consideration as we move on in making the necessary adjustments or revisions in our guidelines, Your Honor.
Secretary, in my understanding, then only flights from Wuhan to the Philippines has been banned. Is that correct, Mr. Secretary?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe that this is an international airport in Wuhan. So I think there are many other provinces. The Chinese nationals would need to go to one of the international airports, one of the major international airports. So now, at least for Wuhan, there's been a lockdown. The Chinese government has already restricted travel to and from Wuhan city, and I think even Hubei at this point, but subject to validation.
It is, since we are a heavily populated country and we are clearly incapable of handling such a health crisis should it happen in the Philippines, would it not be prudent, Mr. Secretary, to be proactive and ban temporarily any mainland Chinese tourists in any airport or port, not just Wuhan, since the coronavirus has spread to other cities in China? Again, let me not be misconstrued. I just value too much the health of the Filipino people. And 108 million people, heavily populated, dikit-dikit sa mga syudad po. And we do not have the resources nor perhaps the medical know-how. We have to send some of our tests to Australia. So would it not be prudent for us? Take, for example, Subic, when the residents protested against the entry of a cruise ship bearing the mainland Chinese residents who may or may not be inflicted with the coronavirus. So this is actually not my personal belief, but I've been asked as an elected representative, not only of my province, but of even other representatives who may be shy to manifest this, or other people. And they're asking, what are you in Congress doing? So I asked Secretary Locsin, and I can show you the text of Secretary Teddy. He said, Lorren, I agree with you. You may be right. So I tried to call you the other night. I understand you're very busy. We could not communicate with each other. So I'm putting it on record on the possibility of just temporarily closing to mainland because it has spread there. I'm not saying that all others, where there are one or two victims, that we should close our tourism to those areas, but should we not close it? I recall that there is a Wuhan-Katiklan flight which was operating until last Wednesday, and your very efficient DOH personnel had to look for the Wuhan individuals who were already in Boracay vacationing and had to be retrieved from Boracay and returned back to Wuhan. Correct me if my information is inaccurate. So do we still need to do that? To allow some Chinese from Wuhan who may have gone to Shanghai or Beijing and infected some people there to come to the Philippines because we have not closed our doors and look for them in our provinces and then send them back? Would it not be more efficient that we simply just say no for the meantime until the situation has been contained in mainland China? Just a question, Mrs. I know it's very tricky. I realize there are political and diplomatic repercussions, but for me, the health of the Filipino people, especially those who may not have the resources to buy masks, to stay away from each other, if that is at stake, then we must do everything to protect our people, Secretary.